to my presentation. I'm beginner level student from Lido Life Online course. Please forgive me if there are any mistakes in my presentation because this is the first presentation video. And all the pictures and text included in this are from the internet. Hello, now I want to tell you about the climate change. So first, what is climate change? Climate change refers to long-term shifts in temperatures and weather patterns. Such shifts can be natural due to changes in the sun's activity or large volcanic eruptions. But since the 1800s, human activities have been the main driver of climate change, primarily due to the burning of fossil fuels like coal, oil, and gas. Burning fossil fuels generates greenhouse gas emissions that act like a blanket wrapped around the Earth, trapping excess heat and raising temperatures. The main greenhouse gases that are causing climate change include carbon dioxide and methane. These come from using gasoline for driving a car or coal for heating a building, for example. Clearing land and cutting down forests can also release carbon dioxide. Agriculture, oil and gas operations are major sources of methane emissions. Energy, industry, transport, buildings, agriculture, and land use are among the main sectors causing greenhouse gases. So now I want to talk about the causes of the climate change. So for the first one, generating power. Generating electricity and heat by burning fossil fuels causes a large chunk of global emissions. Most electricity is still generated by burning coal, oil, or gas, which produce carbon dioxide and nitric oxide, powerful greenhouse gases that blanket the earth and trap the sun's heat. Globally, a bit more than a quarter of electricity comes from wind, solar, and other renewable sources which, as opposed to fossil fuels, emit little to no greenhouse gases or pollutants into the air. And manufacturing goods. Machines used in the manufacturing process often run on coal, oil, or gas, and some materials like plastics are made from chemicals sourced from fossil fuels. The manufacturing industry is one of the largest contributors to greenhouse gas emissions worldwide. And the next one is cutting down forests. Cutting down forests to create farms or pastures or for other reasons causes emissions since trees, when they are cut, release the carbon they have been storing. Each year, approximately 12 million hectares of forest are destroyed. Since forests absorb carbon dioxide, destroying them also limits nature's ability to keep emissions out of the atmosphere. Deforestation, together with agriculture and other land use changes, is responsible for roughly a quarter of global greenhouse gas emissions. And another one is powering buildings. Globally, residential and commercial buildings consume over half of all electricity. As they continue to draw on coal, oil, and natural gas for heating and cooling, they emit significant quantities of greenhouse gas emissions. Growing energy demand for heating and cooling, with rising air conditioner ownership, as well as increased electricity consumption for lighting, appliances, and connected devices, has contributed to a rise in energy-related carbon dioxide emissions from buildings in recent years. For the last one, consuming too much. Your home and the use of power, how you move around, what you eat, and how much you throw away all contribute to greenhouse gas emissions. So thus, the consumption of goods such as clothing, electronics, and plastics, A large chunk of global greenhouse gas emissions are linked to private households. Our lifestyles have a profound impact on our planet. The wealthiest bear the greatest responsibility. The richest 1% of the global population combined about for more greenhouse gas emissions than the poorest 50%. So now I want to talk about the effects of climate change. First, hotter temperature. As greenhouse gas concentrations rise, so does the global surface temperature. The last decade, 2011 to 2020, is the warmest on record. Since the 1980s, each decade has been warmer than the previous one. Nearly all land areas are seeing more hot days and heat waves. And another one is more soft storms. Destructive storms have become more intense and more frequent in many regions. As temperatures rise, more moisture evaporates, which exacerbates extreme rainfall and flooding, causing more destructive storms. The frequency and extent of tropical storms is also affected by the warming ocean. Cyclones, hurricanes, and typhoons feed on warm waters at the ocean surface. Such storms often destroy homes and communities, causing deaths and huge economic losses. Next one is increased drought. Climate change is changing water availability, making it scarcer in more regions. Global warming exacerbates water shortage in already water-stressed regions and is leading to an increased risk of agricultural droughts affecting crops, and ecological droughts increasing the vulnerability of ecosystems. Droughts can also stir destructive sand and dust storms that can move billions of tons of sand across continents. Deserts are expanding, reducing land for growing food. Many people now face the threat of not having enough water on a regular basis. The next one is a warming rising ocean. Global warming is causing global mean sea level to rise in two ways. First, glaciers and ice sheets worldwide are melting and adding water to the ocean. Second, the volume of the ocean is expanding as the water warms. And more health risks. Climate change is the single biggest health threat facing humanity. Climate impacts are already harming health through air pollution, disease, extreme weather events, forest displacement, pressures on mental health, and increased hunger and poor nutrition in places where people cannot grow or find sufficient foods. Every year, environmental factors take the lives of around 30 million people. Changing weather patterns are expanded diseases and extreme weather events increase deaths and make it difficult for health care systems to keep up. The last one is the poverty and displacement. Climate change increases the factors that put and keep people in poverty. Floods may sweep away urban lands, destroying homes and livelihoods. Heat can make it difficult to work in outdoor jobs. Water scarcity may affect crops. Over the past decade, 2010 to 2019, weather-related events displaced an estimated 23.1 million people on average each year, leaving many more vulnerable to poverty. Most refugees came from countries that are most vulnerable and are least ready to adapt to the impacts of climate change. So now I will tell you about how can we adapt to climate change. First, understanding vulnerability. Identifying communities and ecosystems most susceptible to climate change impacts like sea level rise, extreme weather events, and droughts. And building resilience, implementing measures to withstand and recover from climate change impacts like strengthening infrastructure, diversifying crops, and promoting sustainable land use practices. The next one is adaptive capacity, developing the ability to respond to changing climate conditions through knowledge sharing, education, and access to resources. And risk management, assessing potential climate change risks and taking proactive steps to minimize damage and maximize benefits. The last one is nature-based solutions, utilizing natural systems like wetlands and forests to buffer against climate change impacts. That's all about my presentation. Thank you for your attention, and I apologize if there were any mistakes in the video, and the letters from this video are referenced on the United Nations website. Thank you. Bye.